Okay, this video is going to explain to you the compareTo method. So the compareTo method is a method that is overridden. It's an overridden method. That means many different classes and objects are allowed to use compareTo. It's very special. It's like equals, where often many classes use it. We are going to use it with this video to compare strings. So this is how strings allows you to use the compareTo. To do this, you need to remember that ASCII code is a numerical value between 0 and 255 that is used by the computer to represent all characters. So remember, the ASCII code for 0 was 48, A was 65, and little a is 97. You'll see the attached on here. There are some ASCII codes that I gave you so you can refer to it. Okay, so these numbers are one way for you to kind of remember how this compareTo method works. So if you picture a number line, all right, it's right here, the number line, and you have the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, okay, so and there's other ones right that come before it up to 9. Okay, so those digits are close to first. There's other things that are before it, but they're close to first on this number line. Then you have some characters. So let's pretend that's just like mushing it together. So I'm skipping a bunch of characters. And then we have capital letters like A and B, C, and so on. Okay, all the way up to X, Y, and Z. Capital X, capital Y, and capital Z. Pretend there's quotes around them. Then you have a couple, not much, and you get to the lowercase. So then lowercase a is 97. So this A right here was 65 approximately. Not approximately, was 65, 66. I'm writing weird. 67. 0 was, what do we say, 48. So there's a little bit before that. And then we have A, B, C, and moving along, X, Y, and Z. Little x, little y, and little z. This is the number line that's called lexicographical order. So it's not alphabetical order necessarily, because the uppercase come before the lowercase. So it's like alphabetical, but it includes numbers, letters, characters, all that other stuff. If you look at the ASCII code PDF that I gave you, you'll see that. Okay, so this lexicographical order helps you to understand the order that strings are in and how the computer is going to compare them. So we use this like this. So we have the implicit parameter and a dot, then compareTo, and then the explicit parameter. So either one of these, the implicit or the explicit, can be a string literal. So if you remember what that is. So a string literal is whatever's in quotes. And then, or it could be a string variable. But it has to be a string right now. Variable. Okay, remember that the implicit parameter, these guys, can never be null. Okay? Now, when we use this, we're generally going to use this in a condition. So right now, all we have for condition are if statements. So this is going to be a condition. But this thing sends us back a number. And if that number, using these ASCII codes, if that number is equal to 0, they are the same string. So this is the same as dot equals. So if we set this, whatever this number is, if it's equal to 0, then it is, we can make this a condition, then it is then they are equal to each other. They're inherently the same string. This here, if it's negative, Okay, this is where it gets a little funky. Okay, I like to think of the compare to almost like it's a minus sign. So if it's like a minus sign, then the lower you are on the number line, so let's say you're a 2 on the number line, and if up here, this explicit parameter would be a 5 higher up on the number line, if you subtracted them, it would be a negative number. It would be less than 0 or a negative number. So this is how I like to think of it, and it helps me understand compare to, even though I have to think about it pretty hard with my brain. So if we're lower on that lexicographical number line that we have going on up here, so if we're a number, uppercase or lowercase, and we fall more to the left on the number line, so we're going to be a lower number than this one. So when we subtract them, we would wind up getting a negative number, or less than 0. And that would imply that the implicit parameter was the first one in alphabetical order, or in this case, lexicographical order. And if it was the other way around, where the implicit was higher up on the number line, so say it was up at around the 5, and the explicit was lower on the number line, so say a 2, when I subtracted these two, 5 minus 2, I would get something that's bigger than 0, okay, or a positive, in this case a positive 3. I'm just picking numbers as an example. So what this says is that the explicit parameter was first lexicographically. Okay, so that's how compare to works, and that's how we're able to determine what our conditions are going to be. So I can't just write implicit compared to explicit. That's not a condition, that's a number. But if it's negative, I know how to deal with it now, and if it's positive or equal to 0. Okay, so just as a practice, let's see if you can do, well, let's do these. So if you think about the number line, remember it's numbers, capital letters, and then lowercase letters. Okay, that's your number line for low on the lexicographically and high. All right. Mary, all capital letters, so that's here. And Mary, all lowercase letter, that's here. So that's like Mary is lower on the number line, so that's like Mary's the 2. And this one, so 2 minus 5. If we want to make this a true statement, this is going to be less than 0, or capital Mary is first. So what I just want to happen here is, yeah, I wrote that wrong. Sorry. Capital. I just have trouble writing in all caps. Okay, so let's do a couple. So what it does is just like when we alphabetize, it looks at the first letter, and if the first letter is the same, it moves to the second, and then the third, and then the fourth. And then here it finally gets to a change where we have G here and nothing here. So that means this one would be the bigger one. This would be the higher one. This one would be the lower one. So then when we would subtract these, A, B, C, D, E, F would be first, would come first lexicographically, and this would be a positive number. Okay, so these two are exactly the same. So since they're in the same exact place, then these guys are equal to 0. Basically what we're making is like a condition here, where these two are compared, and that we're going to put those in if statement right now. Okay, Joe, so it looks at the first letter first. So Joe and Tom, both capitals. So this would just be normal alphabetical order. So Joe would definitely come first alphabetically, and Tom would be higher up on that number line. So that would be a negative number, and Joe would come first. So again, I'm just doing the 2 and the 5 just to show you, which one that it would be negative or positive. I want to show you with numbers because I understand numbers a little better than letters. Okay, so here it looks at Z first. So Z is a capital letter, A is a lowercase letter, so capital letters come first. So this one is the smaller one. This one is the bigger one. So this one is going to be a negative number. So zebra, even though that's weird, comes first. Okay, this one, Joan, is bigger, the exact same except one extra letter than Joan here with one less N. So this one is bigger than this one. So I have to do it with numbers. It's just, sorry. So that's going to be a positive number. And so that means if that's a positive, the one that comes first is this one, the explicit parameter. So then we have 1, 2, lowercase o, and then a number. Well, the numbers come first regardless. So these are lower on the number line. These are higher on that line. So that's going to be a positive number also. So 1, 2 comes first. Then we have compareTo ignore case. Now what ignore case does is eliminate the uppercase lowercase bit, and it makes it so that zebra and ant will be correct. So if you look at hat and hat, normally this one comes before this one. However, since we put the ignore case on there, that ignore case makes it so that to make it true, these would be equal to 0. Same deal with Mary and Mary. If this was above in the other one, like the first one we did, this one would come first. However, these are the same. The ignore case takes away any sense of case. Okay, now this one, now the zebra here, the Z is not uppercase technically anymore. They're all, you want to think of them as like all the same case. So this would be a lowercase. So now ant would be first and zebra would be second. And this would be a positive number. And this one, same idea. These are exactly the same again, just the first one is an uppercase, but that doesn't matter because it's ignore case. I did a lot of equals on that one, but I hope that helps. I hope you understand, and have a good day.